We live in an era obsessed with speed. Everywhere you look, someone is selling a shortcut. Get rich quick, lose weight fast, find success overnight. It is a fever that has infected our culture, making us believe that if we haven't made our first million by 25, we have somehow failed. But let me share a sober truth with you, one that took me a lifetime to understand. The marketplace, that brutal, honest judge of our efforts, does not pay for speed. It does not care how fast you run. It cares how long you can last. I have seen so many shooting stars in my time, people who burned with an incredible intensity for a season. They made a lot of noise, they stirred up the dust, and then, when the first winter storm hit, they vanished. They had speed, but they lacked the structural integrity to endure the weight of success. If you are sitting there today feeling behind, feeling like the world is moving too fast for you to catch up, especially if you have crossed the threshold of 40 and feel the pressure of time, I need you to listen closely. Stop trying to win a sprint that was never designed for you. The question isn't whether you can run faster than the person next to you. The question is much more dangerous and much more important. Can you stay standing when everyone else has collapsed? Let's look at the basic economic formula that governs our lives, a formula so simple yet so often misunderstood by the majority. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. That is it. We do not get paid for time. I hear people say, I make $20 an hour. That is not true. You make $20 for the value you put into that hour. If you simply stare at the wall for 60 minutes, the marketplace will eventually cease to pay you. This is why speed is an illusion. You can run very fast in the wrong direction, and you can work incredibly hard at tasks that produce very little value. The majority of people are caught in a trap of intensity. They believe that if they just sweat more, if they just hustle harder, if they just sacrifice their sleep and their health for a few years, they will arrive at the promised land. But the marketplace is not impressed by your sweat. It is impressed by your skill. And skill, true mastery, cannot be microwaved. It must be marinated. I want you to think about this in terms of architecture. If you want to build a chicken coop, you can go out this afternoon, buy some wood and wire, and have it finished by sunset. It requires very little planning, very little foundation, and if a strong wind comes, it might blow over, but you can easily build another one. This is how most people build their careers and their lives. They are building chicken coops. They want the quick result. But if you want to build a hotel, a skyscraper, a structure that scrapes the clouds and houses thousands, you cannot start building upward on the first day. For months, maybe years, the only work you do is digging down. You are moving dirt. It is messy, it is unglamorous, and to the casual observer walking by the construction site, it looks like nothing is happening. In fact, it looks like you are going backward. You are creating a hole, not a building. This is where the endurance comes in. This is the period where the weak lose heart. They say, I have been working for 5 years and I have nothing to show for it. But they are wrong. They are building the foundation. The higher you want to go, the deeper you must go first. This is why I say that your 40s, 50s, and beyond are not the end of the road. They are the beginning of the vertical climb. By this age, if you have been paying attention, you have been digging the foundation. You have made mistakes. You have accumulated scars. You have learned what does not work. That is not failure. That is data. That is structural integrity. The young man of 20 has energy. Yes, he has speed, but he often lacks the root system to sustain the fruit he desires. He gets the money before he gets the wisdom, and the weight of the money crushes him. I have seen it happen 1,000 times. The lottery winner, the young rock star, the crypto millionaire, they rise like a rocket and fall like a stone because their character was not developed enough to keep what they attracted. Endurance is the currency of the wealthy. I am not just talking about financial wealth, but wealth of spirit, of lifestyle. The marketplace pays the highest premiums to those who can solve the most complex problems, and you cannot solve complex problems with panic or haste. You solve them with patience, with perspective, with a library of references in your mind that only time can build. We must shift our philosophy from how fast can I get it to how long can I keep it. The majority creates temporary success. The successful design a life that gets better with time, like a fine wine, not worse, like a carton of milk. Consider the seasons. You cannot speed up the harvest. You can scream at the crops, you can water them 10 times a day, you can stand over them with a lamp all night, but they will grow at their own pace. If you try to force the spring during the winter, you will die of exposure. If you try to harvest in the summer, you will destroy the crop. Endurance is simply the intelligence to understand which season you're in and the discipline to act accordingly. Most people give up in the winter. They see the frost, they feel the cold, the bank account dips, the opportunities dry up, and they abandon the field. They leave just before the spring arrives. They didn't lack ability, they lacked duration. They couldn't hold the pose. We have to ask ourselves a hard question about our own design. Are we building a life that depends on us running at full speed forever because that is a fragile design, the engine will blow? Or are we building a life based on value, on wisdom, on becoming the kind of person who attracts success naturally? If you are over 40, stop trying to compete with the 20-year-old on energy. You will lose. Compete on insight, compete on reliability, compete on the fact that while they are sprinting to the wrong destination, you are walking steadily toward the right one. The tortoise didn't win because he was fast. He won because the hare was distracted, arrogant, and inconsistent. The hare relied on his talent. The tortoise relied on his commitment. In the long run of a human life, commitment always defeats raw talent. So, as you look at the blueprint of your life today, I want you to examine the foundation. Are you trying to add another floor to a structure that can't support it? Are you frustrated because you haven't seen the skyline yet, forgetting that you are still pouring the concrete? Or have you bought into the delusion that you ran out of time simply because you are measuring your progress by someone else's clock? I remember the distinct taste of desperation I had in my mouth at age 25. It is a bitter taste, metallic and cold. I was living in a contradiction that was tearing me apart. On the outside, I was a hard worker. I was born in farm country, down in Idaho. I knew what work was. I knew how to milk cows before dawn. I knew the sound of the alarm clock when it was still pitch black outside. So when I got to the city, when I started my family, I applied that same farm logic. Work harder, work longer, run faster. I was working as a stock clerk at Sears, shuffling boxes, organizing inventory, sweating for pennies. But I also had this entrepreneurial itch, this desire to be wealthy, to be free. I started getting involved in sales, the shaker days, as we call them, selling nutritional supplements. I was frantic. That is the only word for it. I was running on a treadmill of my own making, convinced that the sheer velocity of my movement would somehow force the universe to give me money. I would run to a prospect's house, talk a mile a minute, try to close the deal, get rejected, and then run to the next one, fueled by panic. I looked at my bank account, and it was empty. I looked at my creditors, and they were angry. I had pennies in my pocket, literally pennies, and I had a wife and a family depending on me. I used to put cardboard in my shoes because the soles had worn through, and I was too ashamed to buy new ones, or rather, I couldn't afford to. I was 25 years old, and I felt like an old man. I felt finished. I thought, I am working harder than anyone I know. Why is the marketplace punishing me? It was around this time that I met the man who would change my life, Mr. Shoaff. He was a millionaire, a man of quiet confidence, the kind of man who didn't have to raise his voice to be heard. I, on the other hand, was loud, anxious, and always in a hurry. I remember one afternoon, I was pouring out my frustrations to him. I was giving him my list of excuses, the reasons why I wasn't doing well. I blamed the taxes. I blamed the prices. I blamed the weather. I blamed the traffic that made me late. I blamed the cynical customers. I told him, Mr. Shoaff, I am giving it everything I have. I am sprinting every day. Why isn't it working? He looked at me with that unique expression of his, part amusement, part pity, but mostly deep compassion. He said, Jim, you are working hard on your job, but you are not working hard on yourself. He paused, letting that sink in. Then he said something that stopped me cold. He said, you are trying to hunt success like it is a wild animal. You are chasing it with a spear, running through the forest, making noise, scaring it away. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. He explained to me that I was trying to compress a lifetime of growth into a payday. I wanted the harvest without the spring and the summer. I was a 25-year-old man trying to demand the wages of a master architect while I still had the skills of a novice bricklayer. I felt a wave of shame wash over me. It wasn't the economy, it wasn't the government, it was me. I was the bottleneck. I was trying to use speed to cover up my lack of substance. Mr. Shoaff told me, Jim, if you want to have more, you have to become more. If you change, everything will change for you. But you cannot change overnight. You can change your direction overnight, but you cannot change your destination overnight. He taught me about the law of the farm. On the farm, you cannot cheat. You cannot plant the seed on Monday and demand the wheat on Tuesday. If you dig up the seed on Wednesday to see if it's growing, you kill it. That is what I was doing. My impatience was killing my potential. I was so busy running that I never took the time to sharpen my axe. I was hacking away at the tree of success with a dull blade, exhausted, sweating, and getting nowhere. It took me years to metabolize this lesson. It wasn't instant. I had to learn to slow down my internal engine while maintaining my external discipline. I had to learn to read books instead of just reading headlines. I had to learn to listen to people instead of just waiting for my turn to speak. I had to build the capacity to handle wealth before the wealth arrived. And you know what? When I finally stopped chasing it, when I finally settled into the rhythm of becoming a person of value, the success came. And it came in amounts I couldn't have imagined back when I was putting cardboard in my shoes. I share this story because I know many of you are currently in that shaker phase. You are frantic. You feel the clock ticking. Maybe you're 45 or 55, and you look at your life and think, I missed the boat. You haven't missed the boat. You were just trying to swim across the ocean instead of building a ship. Building a ship takes time. It takes sawing wood and hammering nails while standing on the shore looking like you aren't going anywhere. But once that ship is built, you can cross oceans that a swimmer could never survive. I want this to settle in your spirit. I want you to stop beating yourself up for not being at the finish line yet. The race is long, and in the end, it is only with yourself. We are going to go deeper into this concept of how to actually build this endurance, how to shift from the hunter to the attractor. I'll leave a few moments of quiet at the end of this video for you to really reflect on where you are in this process. But for now, I need you to ask yourself a crucial question. If you stopped running today, if you stopped the frantic activity, what value would remain? What have you built that can stand without your constant frantic energy holding it up? Let's analyze why most people cannot endure. Why do they start January with fire in their eyes and end February in quiet desperation? It is because they have misunderstood the fundamental relationship between activity and result. In our modern world, we have destroyed the gap between desire and gratification. You press a button, you get the food, you click a screen, you see the movie, you swipe a card, you own the shirt. We have trained our brains to expect the world to respond instantly to our commands. But the marketplace, the seasons, and your life do not operate on an algorithm. They operate on agricultural laws. And the soil does not care about your hurry. Here is the phrase I want you to write down in your mind. You cannot deceive the soil. If you plant corn, you get corn. But more importantly, if you plant corn today, you do not get corn tomorrow. You get dirt. For weeks, you get nothing but dirt, rain, and weeds. This gap, the time between doing the right thing and seeing the right result, is where dreams go to die. This is the valley of endurance. Most people stand over their field after a week of hard work, see no sprouts, and say, this doesn't work. They walk away. They leave the field to go try a new scheme, a new job, a new opportunity that promises a faster crop. But the tragedy is that the seed was just about to break the surface. They abandoned their fortune right before it became visible. Endurance is the ability to trust the soil when you cannot see the plant. It is the ability to hold the vision when the reality looks like a barren field. This is especially true for those of us in the second half of life. When you are young, you can afford to jump from field to field. You have time to waste. But when you are 40, 50, 60, you must become a master of the waiting game. But do not mistake waiting for passivity. Passive waiting is laziness. Active waiting is endurance. Active waiting means you are watering, weeding, and protecting the ground even when there is no sign of a harvest. Consider the winds. One of the greatest lessons I learned is that the same wind blows on us all. The economic wind, the political wind, the wind of illness, the wind of tragedy, it blows on the rich and the poor, the successful and the failure. The difference is not the blowing of the wind, it is the set of the sail. The person who lacks endurance takes down their sail when the wind gets rough. They drift, they complain about the wind. They wish for a better wind. The person of endurance knows that they cannot change the wind, but they can adjust the sail to harness the power of the storm to drive them forward. The gale that destroys the fragile boat is the same gale that pushes the sturdy ship across the ocean faster. This brings us to the concept of structural integrity I mentioned earlier. Why does the marketplace pay more for the person who has endured? Because that person has been tested. If I am hiring a guide to take me up a dangerous mountain, I do not want the 20-year-old who runs fast and has never seen a storm. I want the 50-year-old with the weathered face, the one who walks slow, the one who knows what to do when the blizzard comes. I am paying for his scars. I am paying for his memory. I am paying for the fact that he didn't quit the last time he was up there. If you are feeling old, if you feel like your best years are behind you, you are looking at the wrong ledger. Your youth is gone, yes. You cannot trade on your looks or your raw energy like you used to, but you have something far more valuable. You have perspective. You know that winter doesn't last forever. A young person thinks a broken heart or a lost job is the end of the world. You know it is just a season. That knowledge is power. That knowledge is what allows you to endure when others panic. we must also address the law of accumulation. Success is almost never a quantum leap. It is a penny doubled. It is the compound interest of good habits. The problem is the math of compounding is boring in the beginning. 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. The numbers are small. You can do the right thing. Read the book, eat the apple, make the call every day for a year and see almost no difference. This is why endurance is rare. It requires the maturity to do the boring work today for the magnificent result 10 years from now. The person who chases intensity wants the numbers to jump to 1 million immediately. They gamble, and the house always wins. So the question becomes a matter of philosophy. Are you a gambler or an investor? The gambler needs the win tonight. The investor is willing to be bored for 5 years to be free for the rest of his life. The marketplace eventually punishes the gambler and rewards the investor. It transfers money from the impatient to the patient. Look at your life right now. Are you trying to force the door open, or are you building the key? The key takes longer to make, but once you have it, the door opens easily and it stays open. Endurance is not about gritting your teeth and suffering. It is about understanding the nature of things. It is understanding that an oak tree takes longer to grow than a mushroom, but it also lasts longer. If you want a mushroom life, quick up, quick down, fragile, then keep running. Keep chasing the shortcuts. But if you want an oak tree life, solid, sheltering, deep-rooted, you must accept the pace of the oak. You must make peace with time. Now, I want to challenge you. I want to probe a little deeper into your conscience. We have talked about the theory, but let's look at the practice. Why haven't you endured in the past? What was the specific moment you let go of the rope? I want to conduct a serious audit right now, not of your finances, but of your history. I want you to look back at the trail of your life. What do you see? Do you see a series of completed structures, or do you see a landscape littered with half-finished projects? How many times have you started a diet, started a business, started a savings plan, started a book, only to abandon it when the initial enthusiasm evaporated? We are a society addicted to starting. Starting is easy. Starting is exciting. Starting is full of romance. Anyone can buy the running shoes. Anyone can register the domain name. But the marketplace does not pay you for starting. You cannot cash a check for a job half done. A bridge that reaches 99% of the way across the canyon is not a bridge. It is a diving board. It is useless. And yet, that is where most people live, at the 99% mark, wondering why they are drowning. The challenge I have for you is to confront the seduction of quitting. You see, quitting is seductive because it offers immediate relief. When you are running and your lungs burn, stopping feels like heaven. When you are saving money and you see that new car, spending the money feels like relief. But it is a false relief. It is a narcotic. It numbs the pain of discipline for a moment, but it replaces it with the chronic, dull ache of regret. You know this ache. You feel it when you see someone else living the life you could have had if you had just held on a little longer. You feel it when you realize you are 45 years old and you are still fighting the same battles you were fighting at 25 because you never finished the war. You tell yourself, "I'm tired." I hear this all the time. "Jim, I'm just too tired to keep going." Let me correct you. You are not tired from working, you are tired from restarting. It takes a massive amount of energy to get a stationary train moving. The wheels slip, the engine roars, the fuel is consumed at a massive rate just to get the first inch of movement. Once the train is moving, it takes very little energy to keep it moving. Momentum is your friend, but every time you quit, you stop the train. And every time you start again, you have to burn that massive amount of fuel. You are exhausting yourself not by enduring, but by quitting and restarting over and over again. The most exhausted people I know are not the ones who have worked steadily for 20 years. They are the ones who have started 20 different things in 20 years. And to those of you who are using your age as an excuse to stop, I want to challenge that lie directly. You say, "I am too old to endure this pace." You are confusing pace with direction. I'm not asking you to run faster, I'm asking you to stop stopping. There is a dignity in the long game that the sprinter will never know. The ancient olive trees in the Mediterranean do not grow fast, but they survive droughts, fires, and storms, and they produce fruit for centuries. Are you building an olive tree, or are you planting weeds? Do not run from this feeling of discomfort. I know it's heavy. In a moment, we are going to transition to the end of this talk, and I'm going to ask you to sit in silence. Don't rush to the next video. Don't click on the next distraction to numb this feeling. This feeling is your wake-up call. It is your soul telling you that you are capable of more than this frantic start-stop existence. So here is the question that must pierce your armor today. What is the one thing, the one major goal that you know you should have finished by now, but you let it slide? Not because it was impossible, but because it became inconvenient. Identify it. Look it in the eye. Because unless you decide right now that you are going to finish what you start, The next 10 years will look exactly like the last 10. Is that what you want? To arrive at the end of your life with a pocket full of almosts? Now is the time for the truth. We have analyzed the problem, we have looked at the seasons, and we have audited our past, but knowledge without action is the beginning of delusion. You can agree with everything I've said today. You can nod your head. You can say, yes, Jim, that makes sense. But if you turn off this video and go back to your frantic, distracted, start-stop way of living, then we have both wasted our time. The marketplace does not pay for intention, it pays for completion. I want you to summon a strength that I know is inside you. It is the strength of the stonecutter. Imagine the stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two. Now I ask you, was it the 101st blow that did it? No, it was all that went before. It was the accumulation of effort. You are the stonecutter. Maybe you are at blow number 99 right now. Maybe you are tired. Maybe your hands are bleeding. Maybe the critics are laughing because they see no crack in the stone. But you must not stop. You must not drop the hammer. The split is coming. The breakthrough is inevitable, provided, and this is the only condition, provided you do not quit. You have to make a decision today about how you will play the rest of the game. Are you going to play like an amateur, hoping for a lucky break, or are you going to play like a professional, showing up day after day, regardless of the weather, regardless of the mood, regardless of the results? Professionalism is doing what you need to do when you need to do it, whether you like it or not. That is the definition of endurance. And for those of you who feel the weight of your years, I want you to flip the script. Do not let society tell you that you are fading. You are not fading, you are ripening. Some of the greatest contributions to the human race were made by men and women who found their stride late in life. Colonel Sanders didn't start franchising until he was 62. He had endurance, he had a recipe and a refusal to surrender. Your best work is not behind you. Your best work is waiting for the version of you that refuses to give up. The first half of your life was just the research. It was the gathering of materials. Now it is time to build the cathedral. Do not envy the sprinters. Let them run. Let them exhaust themselves. Let them flash and fade. You are playing the long game. You are building a legacy. A legacy is something that survives you. And you cannot build something that survives you if you are constantly tearing up the foundation to look for a quicker way. Commit to the process. Fall in love with the boredom of consistency. Fall in love with the plateau, because the plateau is where the muscles grow. Listen to me closely. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. It is annoying. It is uncomfortable. But the pain of regret weighs tons. I do not want you to reach the end of your days sitting in a rocking chair looking back at a life of potential that was murdered by impatience. I do not want you to carry the heavy ghost of what could have been. I want you to arrive at the end used up, exhausted, empty, because you gave everything you had, but full of the satisfaction that you finished the race. In a moment, the screen will go dark. There will be no music. There will be no next video popping up immediately to distract you. I have asked the editors to leave this space for you. I want you to use this silence. It is rare in our world to have silence. We are terrified of it because in silence we have to face ourselves. But today I want you to face yourself with kindness and with resolve. Don't rush to the comment section. Don't rush to check your email. Just sit there. Feel the gravity of your own life. Feel the power of your own capacity to endure. You are stronger than you think. You have survived 100% of your bad days. You are still here. That means you have endurance in your DNA. Now it is time to apply it to your dreams. So, as we go into the silence, here is the question I want to leave echoing in your mind. It is a question that only you can answer, and the answer will determine the trajectory of your remaining years. If you decide today, right now, that you will never again give up on a worthy pursuit just because it gets hard, if you decide to hold the line when everyone else is retreating, who will you be when the harvest finally comes?